Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? Um, my piano has been in repair now for quite a bit, and I'm wanting it back ASAP. But I have a backup plan for at least a few things happening that I need my piano for. Yeah, these repairs, boy. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, what I want to do with this video is just kind of walk you through um, some things that um, you might think that, I don't know, writing music is easy in a way. It's just, I'm going to try to introduce you to um, the world, I guess you could say, of music composition. Try to get you to see how many possibilities there are, and also try to help you understand what I've been through in terms of, let's say, people trying to convert me to different ways of composing, for better or for worse. Here we go. So we're gonna start out this with just pitches, and I'm gonna just sing them because my piano is not handy. And I don't want to. Yeah, could use a horn, I suppose, but so I'm not gonna worry about rhythms right now. No time signature, and a lot of the stuff you guys don't know about anyway, what they are. So, that's our C, which is that's just our C. C, right? So if you go C to D flat, or C D flat, that kind of, call that a minor second. Da, da. Right off the bat, oh man, we're talking about jazz. We're talking about something frightening. We're talking about something often avant-garde, something dissonant, right? Maybe the C is the tonic, but maybe if you never introduce the G or the E, da, 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 if you don't ever introduce the major third or the fifth, then hey, they might be able to call it atonal. If it might, maybe it's either D flat or C, or maybe it's something else. If it's all kind of, certain pitches like thirds seem to reinforce tonality. They do, especially the major triad, right? The harmonic series. You guys should look that up. So let's go on here a little bit. So let's say we're just testing different intervals, right? C to D, da, da. Oh, that's a little bit nicer sounding than the da, da. That's the C to D, C to D flat. That's a little bit darker. Let's C to D, da, 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 da. That's nice, right? That can be the beginning of a nice, beautiful song. A lot of different ways you can go there. A little bit more singable, lyrical. It doesn't have, but it's definitely less dissonant than the minor second. Du, 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 du. Right. Then we have the minor third. Du, du, du. C, E flat, du, du, du. Du, right. So it's darker like the minor second, but maybe not quite as dissonant in a way. So maybe for something, sad or gloomy. There's all kinds of ways you could use that interval. And C, the E, the C, C, do. Definitely brighter sound. So you've only gone through 4 different kinds of intervals, we'll say. And there's others even within the octave. There's some outside the octave, right? C to F, C, F. It sounds kind of, we're getting to the point where it's a bit more jumpy, maybe. Like maybe cues for a heroic theme or something more adventurous. Maybe. Or C to G flat to C, G flat. That's just kind of, again, it's like cone heads. It's definitely weird sounding, or it's It's like the minor second. It's more dissonant. The tritone, we call it, or the flat fifth, the augmented fourth. And if you go C to G, C, G, oh man, very consonant, very pleasing sounding, adventurous, superhero-like, all that stuff. So then let's just go through a few more here. C to A flat, C, A flat, right, C, A flat. That's a little bit distinctive, if you want to be a little creative. That's a great interval to start out with. And then C to A, C, A. That's very nice. Relaxed, maybe. C, B flat, C, B flat. Those are the first two pitches of There's a Place for Us, right? That's from West Side Story, right? So we have that yearning kind of sound with the minor seven. And C, C, B, C, B. Right? Something very, again, longing, nostalgic, yearning, but also maybe more, it's just emotional. The major seven is playing the major seven chord. Boom, 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 doo, 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 doo. Very beautiful harmony, right? Or the minor seven. Doo, 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 doo. Right? So we haven't got into, I haven't talked, I'm not singing, well, I get the piano back, I'll play some of these richer harmonies, but we're just looking at the pitches, starting out like, possibly writing a melody. And you see there's a lot of different possibilities just within the first two pitches in any piece. And you have all the different ways of, different kinds of rhythms, note durations, instruments, ranges, like higher, low pitches, different loudness and softnesses, different kinds of harmonies, um, different ways of arranging the harmonies, um, you know, sound effects and things. And then there's also the tempo, how fast you're going to go in different spots, just speeding up, slowing down, gradually getting louder, gradually softer, accents, staccato, playing things really short, as opposed to longer, connected. So many other things like these are all elements that make up music. And so, there are times when I was younger when my ear was developed. I was hearing all this stuff. I was just kind of making these emotional connections with everything in piano lessons when I was 8. 8, 9, and 10, learning all this stuff over time. I had the best piano teacher in the world, some of the just kindest, best piano teachers, and then they got into trumpet, and then horn, and then music major in college, took composition lessons, avant-garde stuff. Had an orchestral experience from high school, band, choir, and so on and so forth. I had teachers that were like, "Oh, that's beautiful, Ben. Keep going with it." I had some degree of guidance, instruction with some composition I was doing before college, and it wasn't much. And then, a lot of what I was hearing in college was about getting more used to hearing dissonant intervals, and yeah, modern music. Then I took film scoring after college, and a lot of my tonal composition ideas and things were confirmed by people that wrote film music. We're involved in that sort of thing, and I guess it's just yeah. The weird thing is when you're a student in college, um, when you're a student, you're there to basically to learn, and there is a difference between learning things that you could use in the future. You can become more employable. You can further your career. There's a difference between learning things and being indoctrinated into something, dogmas. It's just, ah, yeah. I know that's like musically having, and I never felt like, because when you're studying performance, you're in a horn lesson or any kind of instrumental lesson, you're basically working on music that's going to help you become more skilled on that instrument. That's the top priority is improvement. So you're working on more difficult, challenging music a lot of times, technique wise, a lot. That's basically the number one thing there. Expand your whatever horizon somehow. Well, the idea is with avant-garde music is that it since it's probably less familiar to most folks, that's what you want to. There's so many reasons why it was pushed on, everybody that I, studied with, at least in college, and I just suspected that something was up, something was always amiss about this whole thing, and lo and behold, you get done with college and you're like, huh, how can you make a living being an avant-garde composer? Well, aside from being a professor, being a composer in residence at a symphony, a professional orchestra, maybe like a librarian or something. I don't know, like what my uncle Mike does. There's not too many full-time kinds of positions that involve writing avant-garde music all day, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can always do freelance. You can always try making money, and then teaching privately. All this stuff. Sure, I teach privately as well, like piano and horn. Why the devil would I? And there's no incentive. There's no incentive to write crazy music if your heart isn't in it. Why do it? Well, you would write dissonant music. I think most of us would because of the emotional effect it would have on some. You wouldn't want to write necessarily dissonant music, um, or music that didn't have a one pitch that you could always refer back to. That's your home bass note, right? If you wrote music that didn't have that, try to get away from that as much as possible. Um, you would want to write something that's probably pretty dark and uncertain, right? Wandering, all this stuff. No home base to go back to, so to speak. No familiar harmonies. Everything is less familiar. Everything's darker, shadier, weirder, more dissonant. So you would definitely want to write music then in that vein that was the emotions that would be probably we'll say yeah, the emotions that would be coming to just naturally to the forefront would be confusion and despair and anger and fear, these darker emotions, right? Sure, because the darker harmonies, darker emotions. If they're brighter harmonies or more pleasing harmonies, then you have brighter, more pleasing emotions. That's the way music works, and that's that's how we use dissonance. Very dissonant music. If you wrote music that was very dissonant, that you just were thinking about it in a way that was not as emotional. Okay, but it doesn't change how other people are going to listen to it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. But see, now you guys are getting just a taste, just a small taste of what I've been through, and what many other, music majors and composition majors have gone through. And a lot of it's indoctrination, um, of sorts. It's a it's a weird world. It's a weird world we live in. It's a weird world, and the thinking behind that is that you need to get better at this avant-garde music, avant-garde composition, so that you can be um, a more complete composer, or you could, I don't know, maybe, like, yeah, depends on the kind of composer you turn out to be, or that you want to be, Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.